All right, we're down the dock. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Ellen Fusco. My company is Moving and Shaking on the North Shore, and I do move management, decluttering, organizing.
That is quite a bit.
Yes,
And how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it for over 4 years.
Over 4 years, and you tell me your business is going gangbusters.
It is going gangbusters. So, just to give you a little background, I worked at a nursing home during high school, and for whatever, I really loved it. I loved the people, I loved the experience, I loved the engagement, and life took me in a different direction for many, many years, in finance and et cetera. And then my mom became forgetful, and it was a little bit disturbing to me. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Well, not only with how the logistics were going to go, but what do we do with all the stuff?
Yeah.
What does everyone do with the stuff?
What is people do?
And when you talk to people, they say, nobody wants your parents' stuff. Like, nobody wants it.
We talked about this a little earlier. I was watching, literally this morning, I was scrolling through Instagram, and there was an older couple, like probably 62, 65 years old, and they were talking, we're going to do our kids the biggest favor we could ever do, and that's get rid of our shit. Mm-hmm. And we had and they were just like, they had a huge dumpster, and they were physically doing it themselves. But a lot of times, I would say probably 95, 97 people don't do that. They just wait till they pass, and they said, "Oh, let the kids deal with it."
Right. Yeah, and that's interesting because when I moved from Winchester up to Rockport, so the kids are 24, 22, 21, and the middle one was like, he lives in Colorado. He said, "Mom, you need to keep everything in my bedroom." And I was like, no. Like, I'm a purger. Like, my business is to get rid of things. And here I am, and I have all this stuff in the attic. He was like, you can't get rid of it. You can't.
Oh, God.
So it's not a ton, but it's enough, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that nobody wants your stuff. He's not going to want it.
He's not going to want it.
He's not
You're
gonna
going to
want it.
end up 30 years from now.
Yeah.
It's
still up in the attic.
Still
yeah.
up in the attic.
Yeah, those jeans, they're up in the attic.
My wife is famous for, keeping my stepsons, school newspapers and textbooks and old baseball
That's what
gloves.
we have.
And I'm
I have
like,
textbooks, binders, clothes.
we're never, ever, ever. I mean, Muffy White would tell you, just fucking, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Move.
Yep. I always say, put it up here and let it go.
Yeah. There was another thing. Actually, Bob Hastings was one of the not directors. He was on the president of the chamber. He took over from Mike Costello, and he had a rule. My desk, as you can see, is a shit show, right? There's a bazillion things. He says, you can't stay on the desk. There's going to be one of three things has to happen. It's going to be filed in the trash bucket. It's going to be filed, the paper that you absolutely need, and then there was something else. But his desk was, and as the president of the chamber, a million things go past his desk on a daily basis. But
Yeah, I think
most,
it's
but
important.
most people are. What would you say? What would you say the percentage of organized people are?
Oh my goodness, maybe 40.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not one of those.
I mean, I think that what's really important to me is, repurpose, donate, throw away.
Yeah.
And what I try to do, and one of the things that I think is most important to me is, like I said, to backtrack to my mom, was where is all this stuff going to go? And how do I make it so that people are able to utilize what is in people's homes that they don't want, right? So, I have to give a shout out to the American Legions, Second Glance, Open Door, the high school in Rockport, Dogtown Books, the Catholic community of,
Oh, Dogtown Books takes those books?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was always wondering about books.
Yeah, so anything local, I'm really, really enhanced by reaching out and trying to figure out who's going to take anything that I have to donate. Yeah. So that's really important to me. I do have to say that, I'm just going to give a little shout out here. This is my quarter zip from this guy. So
I made them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're holding up pretty good.
Yep, exactly. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the customers that I have, because I think that what I do, so it's what I find myself doing a lot is senior move management, but also with younger people too. So when you think about organizing and you think about this type of business, it's not just moving out. So I moved out a couple in Wakefield, and then they called me back and they were like, "Mom, now moving in. So can you please help me unpack and organize everything?"
Wow.
I'm also working with a couple that has disabled children, and they wanted to turn their playroom into a craft room. So these are things that are just important when it comes to kind of thinking about the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So move out, move in.
So give me a typical scenario. We'll go dark right out the bat, I guess, and say someone passes. What should the kids of that person do?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, and it wasn't even rehearsed.
No.
I have a situation like that right now. So someone went into the hospital, never came out, and like literally the coffee cup was still there. The glasses were still next to the coffee cup, and the house was lived in for not only his entire life, but his mother's as well. Oh. So that was a big task. And so the idea is, okay, what are we going to do with all these things? He was very religious. So this is one of the situations where I was saying, like, to donate to the church. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of contacts. So whether it be, I typically use junk luggers when all is said and done, when everything is out and donated, what's left to go will go with them, but they donate as well. Mm. I try to bring everything that I can to Open Door and Second Glance. Yeah. And it's, so it's very different. Every scenario is different.
Divorce
as well.
Right?
Yep.
Divorce. You had contentious divorce, and you don't personally want to go into that house, right, and get that stuff out, or every divorce, some are amicable, but at the time of that, somebody's got to go in there and get the stuff. Yep. Right. If there's restraining
so a
orders
neutral party is always good.
Yeah, I would think that would be a tremendous reason to call someone like you.
Yep. Yeah, it's incredibly rewarding for me. I mean, it all comes back to the situation that I went through with my parents and the passion that I have for helping. So it's just incredibly rewarding for me.
Yeah.
And in a divorce situation, hey, I get it. So like a neutral party needs to come in.
Well, so in the initial stages, it can be very raw. You know what I mean? And people are not getting along. Probably, I don't know what the percentage of that is, but it happens, and the stuff has to get moved from here to here, or they're selling the house, and the stuff has to go because there's a closing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the closing isn't going to happen if there's stuff left behind.
Right. Exactly.
There's a lot of different scenarios, a million different scenarios, I imagine.
Yep. So me and my team, we will work with real estate attorneys. We'll work with estate attorneys. So the goal is really, as far as gaining additional business, a lot of it has been word of mouth, and I've been incredibly lucky so far because, like I was saying, it's just, one job after the next, which has been fantastic. But I feel like everyone has a need for this service.
Yeah. Well, definitely at some point in everybody's life, they're going to run into this.
Yeah, because everyone's going to die at some point.
Everybody's going to die.
Or has to move.
Yeah.
Or, help moving in.
Ideally, you're helping out your kids, and you don't leave them a fucking ton of shit. I'll give you a story.
Exactly.
I'll give you a story. So Kate, my wife, her mom, we were both divorced. My wife and I were both divorced, and she had a storage unit, and her mom had this antique big table and 8 antique chairs.
Of course.
And
were they dark brown?
They were like walnut, like this color, fucking, right? And literally every time Kate needed to get something in her storage unit, had to move fucking 8 chairs in this big, heavy fucking, if my mother-in-law is watching, not ugly, fucking table. And we knew it was none of us, none of the children were gonna put this in their house. It was just At the time, it was built like a brick shit house. It was fantastic. It was trendy at the time, and it was awesome. But in this day and age, styles change, and like just it wasn't gonna go in anybody's house, and it took a while. And I think we moved that thing 2 or 3 different times, like in the thing, into her basement, out of the thing, and finally
we've got the same thing. We have 2 storage units for my parents' house. Yeah. We have one that was put together. So I arranged one for their house in North Andover, where they moved from, and then after they moved into Brooksby Village, I also had like a second set because I had to get rid of everything in the house because it sold in a day. So now I'm in the process of trying to consolidate these 2 storage units. Yeah. And my dad is like, everything had to go, right? We had an estate sale. We did the whole thing. And he's like, where's that? Where's that like plate that we hung on the wall? And I'm like, Dad, that's gone.
It's gone.
That's gone. He's like, I'm like, sorry.
Sorry.
Stuff has to go.
Dude, I'm telling you, when it happens for me, like I am closing. And again, I get back to divorce because I can relate to that, right? With my divorce, right? Like, actually, the act of purging is one of the cool things. I mean, if there's a cool thing about divorce, the act of purging was a cool thing. Like, just like, fuck, gotta go. There's, winging things into the dust, but like, you cleanse you of this stuff that was sitting around in your basement or whatever that you knew you weren't going to use, or like there was like such the odds of you using it were so minuscule. The space that it was taking up was not worth the holding it.
Oh yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? Like if you put a square footage on your house and you were going to rent out a room, it's X, right? And you have shit in there that you're never going to use. It's just taking up that room. That's value that you're not utilizing.
Right. Yep. So, I know. Yeah. So it vacillates, right? So you have situations like that, and then I have another situation. So I worked with this couple, which I mentioned earlier, in Wakefield. I moved them out of their house, and then they moved to Andover. I moved them into their house, and now we're friends. So they're like, okay, well, we're friends now. When are we going out to dinner?
There you go.
I'm like, okay, that's great. So it vacillates between that and working with existing families who just have a need for organizing, or people who have passed away, and just trying to figure out like how to like delicately
manage
disperse.
That
manage all that stuff
in a thoughtful way.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to be thoughtful when I was going to be
like,
get that thing and get it out of here. We don't need it. Get it out. Throw it out. But that's the first Holy Communion cross. Get it out.
Right.
It's going to go.
Exactly. I know.
I'm screaming into this mic, the poor people. I'm so sorry. I did.
I'm sorry too. I might be too loud.
Sorry.
That's what my husband says all the time.
Anyway, so how can people get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me via my website, which is mndsnorthshore.com. So I am moving and shaking on the North Shore. Moving and shaking on the North Shore. My email is efusco@mnsnorthshore.com.
We'll put this on the screen so you don't.
Okay.
And
by the way, I have a brick and mortar as well, so that's important to know. I'm at Whistle Stop Mall in Rockport.
Tell me about Salty's Bagels.
Oh my God, they're delicious. The everything bagel, forget it.
You gotta try the rosemary salt one.
Okay.
That was my favorite.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's great to have them there. I love being there because I feel like in a business like this, if you're working from home, sometimes it's difficult for people to really understand that you are legit. So having a brick and mortar and being there, having my office space there, having consultations there is amazing. And it's also kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, living in Rockport now,
yeah,
it's the best thing ever.
You love it.
I love it. I love it so much. We moved in June from Winchester.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So you got those like not long after.
Yeah.
So you had just
I was like,
let's
settled
in.
Get this thing
I went and I delivered those.
Yep.
And beautiful spot. What views.
Oh my
Crazy,
gosh.
Right?
Yep.
Lucky.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's and it's a great community. Everyone's been so kind, and Second Glance Open Door again has been just like amazing, and all of the other places, the community, the senior community center, the high school, Bookends, all of the places.
All right, run down top 3 people that should contact you.
Anyone who is looking to declutter, number one. Number two, if you have had someone who, well, I mean, I have a lot of people who are in need of going to assisted living. So I am that person for you, for sure. And then if someone has passed and the kids live far away but the person lived up here, what are we going to do? You know, you can call me. Anyone who needs any type of organizing.
And you'll facilitate removal of and
Yes.
getting stuff.
Yep. I have alliances. So
Getting stuff so that if a house is going to be going to sale, that it'll be in the condition that at the closing they will be able to sign.
yes, absolutely.
That's the move. All right, there you go, Ellen Fusco, moving and shaking.
Thank you.
On the North Shore. We'll put the link probably somewhere. Oh wait, where's my little cursor? Somewhere right around here we'll put it, and you can contact her. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let's go.